Hi, my name is Michael Lanasa, and I'm a technical writer for Active Directory Rights Management Services. Today I'm going to show you how to install a new instance of AD RMS. This video will cover Step 2 of the AD RMS step-by-step guide located on TechNet. I'll log on to the domain controller in my virtual environment as the administrator, so that I can add the user account AD RMS admin to the Enterprise Admins group. I'm going to use the AD RMS admin account to install AD RMS. This account needs Enterprise Admin credentials to register the service connection point with Active Directory, and we'll see that later in the installation process. This account must also have local administrative rights on the computer running SQL Server and the computer on which you will install AD RMS. I have already completed these steps in my environment here. Now, let's move to the AD RMS server, where I'll log on as AD RMS admin. In Windows Server 2008, AD RMS is a server role and is installed using Server Manager. I'll click Add Roles to start the Add Roles wizard. I'll select Active Directory Rights Management Services and notice the role services and features that are also required. Here is where I would select Identity Federation Support, which is used to configure AD RMS to use Active Directory Federation services. If you don't select this option upon installation, you can go back and install it later. I'm going to create a new cluster since this is the first instance of AD RMS in this forest. I'll select my computer running SQL Server, which I have named AD RMS-DB. In a production environment, you should use a DNS alias such as a CNAME or DNS host record such as an A record here. I'll select Default under the Database Instance drop-down menu and click Validate. You could select other database instances here if they were available. Here, I must enter the user account that I have configured for the AD RMS service account. This account must be a different account than the one you are logged on as to install AD RMS. This account simply needs to be a user account. It does not need to be configured with any additional privileges. AD RMS will run under this account during routine operations. I'll use AD RMS centrally managed key storage. I could also use a CSP to create and store the key. Here, I'll enter a new password for my cluster. This password is used to join additional AD RMS servers to the cluster and for restoring the cluster from a backup. I'll select Default Website and click Next. Here, I'll confirm that I want to use SSL and I'll type a fully qualified domain name. In a production environment, you should use a DNS alias like a CNAME or a DNS host record such as an A record here. I already got a certificate for SSL encryption, so I'll select that certificate now. Remember that self-signed certificates are only recommended for test environments. Instead, in a production environment, you would likely get your certificate from a certification authority. Now, I'll register the service connection point. AD RMS clients use the service connection point to automatically discover the AD RMS cluster. I'll show you the role services that will be installed with AD RMS. Now we are ready for installation. Installation can take up to 60 minutes. Typically, my installations have completed between 4 and 10 minutes. Alright, the installation has completed and it was successful. I'll click Close and I'll close the Server Manager. At this point, I can safely remove the AD RMS admin account from the Enterprise Admins group and from the local administrators group on my computer running SQL Server. Before we can administer AD RMS, we must log off and log back in again to update the security token for the AD RMS admin user account. This will update the account's permissions so that we can configure AD RMS. Now, I'll open up the AD RMS console. The first time that you open this console, it may take a few minutes to configure. I'll expand the AD RMS cluster, and you'll be able to see the different administrative options that we can configure from this console. The account that installed AD RMS, which in this case was AD RMS admin, has full control over the different options in this cluster. Okay, I've just shown you how to install a new instance of AD RMS. Thank you for watching, and I hope it was helpful.